Welcome everyone into episode 20 of Pleasure Explosion. I'm your host today, Nicholas Pryor, joined today by Ashley.
What's up, everybody?
Dylan.
Hello, I'm not sober. Hello.
Jono.
What's going on, guys?
Thomas.
Good evening.
And Jack is on babysitting duties today, so he gets to miss out on this.
Oh, being a responsible father. Tough.
What a terrible person. How are you?
Right.
How are you drunk still, Dylan? I was expecting just hungover.
Well, he had the hair of the dog.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hangover cure.
That's
Can
one
we
way to
pat
get over.
ourselves on the back for reaching 20 episodes?
Certainly can.
Yeah.
Is this episode 20?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dylan.
Okay, then sure.
Yeah.
Didn't you listen to the intro? Come on.
No.
Didn't we already establish he's drunk still?
Quick.
True.
Did 20 episodes. Jono says it like it's a. He was like, I never thought we'd make it past 5, but give us.
You got to take whatever you can get. Every milestone
like-
counts.
If we make it to 21 episodes, let's give ourselves a pat on the back for that achievement as well.
Yep.
We made it through one cycle of hosts, and then now it's like
That was a big deal,
That was a
actually.
big deal, and now we're just onto multiples of 10.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We'll get to 50 one day,
We will.
Oh, jeez.
30 weeks from now.
Live show.
Alright,
Don't commit.
my topic starts with a little bit of a story. So, a few weeks ago, or a month or so ago, my father-in-law had a heart attack and whatnot. And so, it's all the follow-up medication and whatnot. And the latest checkup, he's found out he has to have 4 or 5 bypasses. So, obviously, he's pretty shook up about that and scared. So, I thought to myself, what are some of my biggest fears in the world? So, this week we're going to talk about our fears. One of my biggest fears that I think about quite a lot is getting cancer. Because I have such a large family history with cancer on both sides of the family. It's not a matter of if or when in my mind, and I'm always thinking, oh, fuck. Every niggling little thing I'm thinking,
That's the cancer.
shit. Yeah, that's it. When most of the time it's not irrational to think like it, but it's probably not that. But I just can't help but get it out of the back of my mind. So I want to start with you, Jono. What's your biggest fear in the world?
My biggest fear. So, by the way, we didn't know this topic until 30 seconds ago.
I didn't
you
know this
did,
topic
yeah.
until 5
And I
minutes ago.
love how you... This happened last time. You went straight to me.
Well, last time I didn't start with the story. This time I
True.
started
Yeah,
with
you
the story.
did.
He gave you like 30 seconds of prep time.
Last time you really went straight
Extra.
to me with what's the happiest day of your life. So for me, I have to say I don't have a lot of fear, and I think a big reason of that is my faith and my belief in God and the whole kind of way that I feel the world fits into a plan and that I have a purpose and all that kind of thing. So
Yep.
in that sense, I don't fear dying young or anything like that. The thing that I fear, and I don't actually have any phobias to speak of either, if I don't know if we're going to go into that as well, but
We will eventually.
yeah, I mean, the only thing that I ever really fear is the loss of a loved one. And it's
Yeah.
something that's probably started in the last 5 or 6 years, maybe since I met Hannah, maybe just getting older, but started to do this thing where, especially living in a small town, working at the newspaper back in Warrnambool, I'd hear like a 50-year-old woman has fallen off the cliffs at, Port Fairy or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'd immediately text my mum and be like, hey, how you going?
Yeah.
What are you guys up to today? Just like, and every time you hear like a man in his 20s or a woman and her kids were in a car crash, I think of, it's always my direct family, my mum, my dad, my brother, his family,
Yeah.
my wife. And they're the people that I find myself worrying about.
Yeah.
And it's not like a daily thing. It's more kind of just something that comes up every now and then. And they're the moments where I do experience a small degree of fear and let my mind, my imagination get away from me a little bit. But I do my best to keep that in check because, chances are pretty small of those things happening. And if it's happened, you're going to find out about it some way eventually. But
Yeah.
That would probably be the thing for me, and I guess that's an indication of what's important to me. So, yeah, nothing financial or to do with myself in terms of health, but just the loss of those people, because I know that would be probably the thing that affects me more than anything else.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm similar that way. It's just, I'm not so much fearful of it. It's just death has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. Like, I've lost that much family to different things, like 3 grandparents, an uncle, an auntie that's got terminal cancer, extended family. It seemed to happen like every 6 months. So I'm kind of steeled to it in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Callous towards it.
That's a harsh reality, I guess, these days.
Yeah. I talk to some people and like that are my age that have never experienced a family death, and I just think to myself, that is so strange to me.
It is unusual for someone our age to have all their grandparents, I think.
Yeah.
I'm similar to you. I've only got one left, and that's kind of, it's almost like life's way of teaching you about death is to lose a grandparent, or, you know, apart from the family pets and that kind of thing.
I was about to say that's what you get pets for.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I never had pets growing up, so
You start with fish or rabbits or guinea pigs or something like that you that parents are fairly confident won't
Live forever.
won't outlive anybody else.
All right. How about you, Thomas? What are some of your biggest fears?
I'd probably have to agree with Jono for the most part on that front. The one that springs to mind initially is like the death of others. Like,
Yep.
I wouldn't say I'm particularly scared of it, or it was a fear, but it's kind of the thing that I not look forward to least, but it's the one thing that can kind of make my gut churn a little bit, just thinking about losing particular people.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What about you, Dylan? Sorry, you had more to say?
No, I was just about to say, because I've lost all of my grandparents as well already at this point. So we've obviously been through that 4 times.
It's tough.
Yeah, but no other like immediate family or close family like that. Because my mum and dad both only have 1 sibling each. So there's not like a huge extended family there for people to be getting old and dropping off or anything like that at this point. So
yeah, that's fair. What about you, Dylan?
Dying without ever doing something I'm proud of.
Yeah,
I have like a big fear of never achieving anything in the world. Like it doesn't matter what it is, something that I'm like, that was a thing that I did, and I can die.
What do you consider an achievement? Because I consider what we're doing now is pretty big achievement.
This could be a big achievement one day. It would need to be bigger to appease my
ego,
my end of life ego goal. Yeah, but
got to reach that high score.
In terms of way you're thinking, I'm a little bit the same way, but I feel like this and my photography and other stuff will live on past me. So it's just something that I've put into the world that I can be remembered by, as opposed to nothing really.
I always like because I always like stories like it's like movie directors and shit like that. It's like they die and some dude who died, like the dude who directed Gone with the Wind or some shit. Yeah, it's like it's still something. It's like you could say the same with like a bit like construction. Like, oh, I built a building, but it's like doesn't stand that much. That's why I always had like a high interest in creative arts, I suppose, if you want to say it. I always wanted to like make something that maybe one day in the future is like historic in some way, or maybe there's just like one super fan of something really obscure, or like or become like a Vincent van Gogh. Is it Go or is it?
I think it's Go.
I think it's Go.
It's Go, isn't it?
I've already said.
I think it depends who you ask.
Even if
you think people will unearth your vlog one day, they'll stumble.
Yeah.
He's a genius.
The dark internet, and they'll go, "What is this?"
I'll die thinking that everyone hates everything I do, and then 50 years from now they're like, he was actually a genius. But other than that, I agree on the cancer or any disease that's like fucked up, like anything that's just unnatural. Like I'm not afraid of dying if it's like natural or some freak accident. Like if I get struck by a lightning bolt or something really random and I just die, I wouldn't even be angry. I'd just feel like, that is just a shocking turn of events, really. Haha, puns. We're losing a family. I mean, if a family member dies, like when my nan died earlier this year, that was like really sad because that was that wasn't natural causes, that was a disease and everything like that. So that was sad. But I'm not afraid of family members dying from natural causes one day. Like it's not, like if my mum died or when my mum and dad die, like the 80, 90, whatever age. But if it's just like they go in their sleep, I honestly don't think I'd be like drastically upset by it if it was a natural cause. Like it's sad, sure. But
At that point in your life, you're thinking it's gonna happen soon.
Yeah. So as long as it's natural, so I'm not afraid of death. I don't want people dying from fucked up things. Like I
agree. Yeah.
I really like one of my biggest hates in the world is like, who the fuck invented cancer? Like which sick son of a bitch? So, how did that happen? Like sometimes the world just makes.
Well, it's an interesting thing. Cancer is just your own body thinking it's doing the right thing.
No.
I read a thing.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, I read a thing saying if everybody lived long enough, everyone would have cancer at some point.
Probably. Yeah. Everything gives you cancer.
It's the imperfection of humanity.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it.
How about you, Ashley?
Yeah, probably on a similar wavelength. Dying is probably a fear. I don't know if it's the biggest thing. Obviously, family members dying. Like not feeling fulfilled, I guess, is like Dylan said, feeling like I haven't done anything would be a big fear. And then being paralyzed or like incapacitated, like permanently, that just yeah, I don't like that idea at all. So
that
was the first thing that came to mind. Yeah, like being a quadriplegic. Physically. Yeah, that doesn't entice me.
That takes me back to
that's the worst.
One of my second cousins who had MS, and like for the last 20 years of his life, he was just bedridden. He couldn't do anything. Couldn't talk, sleep, eat. Oh, he could sleep, but he couldn't talk, eat, move, do anything for himself. All he did was just lay in bed and exist, really.
Turn me off at that point.
Yeah,
I would.
I'm exactly the same.
I'd probably say, now that you've mentioned that again, I don't think I'm particularly fearful of these things, but that's something that would make me deeply unhappy, is if I was sort of an invalid kind of thing.
Yeah, I've often thought about that as like, that's the common thread that people say, just turn me off, but I don't think that I can't think of a situation in my mind where I'm saying turn me off. Like, I don't want to die, really. Yeah. I don't know.
It's like as bad as it sounds.
It's easy to say when you're not in the situation.
Exactly. Like that's what I'm saying. I can't think of it currently because I'm not in that situation.
Even like watching my nan slowly deteriorate, basically.
Yeah.
And it was like older doctors and shit's just like, it's just like waiting for someone to die.
Yeah.
And I even said to my mum one day, I'm like, why have you ever considered just? He's like, nah, like your pop would never consider that to be an option.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll tell you what, if it was up to me, I'd be voting. Like, because
in a way, I
she
think people
wanted it too. Like that was the other part.
Yeah.
But it was.
It's kind of selfish if they don't have the ability to make that decision, making it for them to keep them alive too.
But at that stage, like watching that kind of thing happen with my nan, like if I ever got to that stage, like if I was like that, I'd be like, nope.
Yeah.
No. It's just like it's not life.
No.
Like at all. It's not even like it's not even a 1% of life. It's just nothingness. It's just like you wake up, everyone has to do everything for you. It's like feed you, take you to the toilet, do this, do that. Do everything like that. It's like, what's even the point?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
It's like my nan 2 years ago now. She had a stroke randomly. Like she survived breast cancer and whatnot. She had a stroke, and then they found out she had all these brain tumors, and then it was just beginning to the end there. She lasted for a couple of months, but she was bedridden and couldn't really do much for herself. Like, she was there, but she wasn't present as well. And yeah, just pretty much watching her die was heartbreaking.
So Nick, why is it that you fear death so much? Like you mentioned, then you wouldn't even want them to turn the switch off if you were in that position.
I don't know if fear is the right word. It's just I can't think of anything I wouldn't want to live for. Like
most people fear death, though.
Yeah, like it's obviously a fear, like, but I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's like,
do you believe in like an afterlife? Because I mean, for me, that's one of the things that's comforting. Yeah, is like, when I die, I believe that there's so much more than what there is now. So it's kind of like, yay, bring it.
Growing up Catholic, I was taught to believe in heaven and the afterlife and all that. Like, I currently believe there's an afterlife, and I really hope there is, because I don't think I can go through life believing there isn't. At that point, I'm like, I don't know. I just can't. I don't want to.
When did you start believing that then? Like when you was a kid? So from like what age till now have you believed in the afterlife? So was there ever a
I've always believed in some sort of life after death, yeah. Okay. I don't currently believe in the same concept as what was taught like in Catholicism, but I believe there is something. I just don't know what.
You're like an agnostic Catholic?
Kind of, yeah. I still believe I just disenfranchised with Catholicism itself.
Like many people.
I don't want to move
I'm in
on.
a similar position with the afterlife. I think
there
is something. I don't know that it's exactly what we've been taught in the Bible or in any organized religion, but I'm hopeful that there's something after we die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we doing an afterlife roll call? Might as well get
it out.
Yeah, no,
it's Final Fantasy 7, the live stream. You all go into the planet.
It's lights out.
Yeah.
You're done. If you didn't get the platinum trophy that you wanted while you were here, then you're fucked. You're not going to sit and play PlayStation for eternity.
High five, sir!
In some kind of heaven. Yeah, no, she's all over.
Yeah.
As far as I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with Tom. It's over. It's all over Red Rover.
Sorry,
how
team.
How does that affect your worldview?
It doesn't.
Like,
enjoy it while you're here.
Yeah.
Like. I don't.
It's like going through life waiting to win the lotto, because only then life can be good with money or something. It's like I could only survive living 90 years if I believed there was something else. Those 90 years or whatever are useless without the idea of an afterlife.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's fine.
Yeah, I just can't not believe that this is it. That I just
I think
I don't know.
There's a very real possibility that this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, that is a very real possibility, but I don't want to believe that's the case.
I'm pretty comfortable with the fact, but it was quite interesting in San Francisco. We went on the submarine, did the submarine tour of this World War II American sub. And there was some comment on the audio tour that was basically there are no atheists on the submarine. Like when you're getting attacked, it doesn't matter who you are. Everyone starts praying to God or hoping that there is something that they're going to achieve if they die in this submarine, because this can't be the end. Fuck kind of thing, which is kind of interesting.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Everyone believes in God in a foxhole kind of saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's sort of I'm too young, I'm not sufficiently fulfilled kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's an innate feeling that we all have, that there's something greater.
Without going on a complete religion tangent, but like my since you like got into like the afterlife and the like the idea of like people like in their final moments will suddenly, like if they've never even done it, be like, dear God, save me, I know I've never talked to you ever, and I kind of shit talked to you that one time in 8th grade, but since I'm about to die, can I please go to heaven, please. That's like all I believe. Like religion's just all made up to me to like basically help people get through life and be able to survive because they're too scared elsewhere. So it helps scared people survive through life.
Yeah, it's sort of like an ethical or moral code. And there's like all the supporting stories kind of thing, but I don't believe that literally. I do believe that these texts and stuff exist to try and help people be better people, but I don't think that actually heaven and hell and all those sort of things exist, or reincarnation or anything like that. Yeah.
I got some other fears that I wanted to add after I got through you.
I was wondering if anybody that is slightly more religious than Dylan and I wanted to rebut that point before you moved on.
No, well,
it's not something that needs to be rebutted. Like I
no,
with everything that you said, but that doesn't mean that's not a case.
There's no right answer. So.
Yeah.
I think it's like without saying, it's pretty obvious that Jono obviously disagreed with everything I just said.
Yeah, I don't mean rebuttal as in let's argue this, but I'm interested to listen to your side, or like a counterpoint, because I wouldn't even try and posit that you are wrong for believing in these things or anything like that, but it's not something I believe, and it's something that I respect that you believe. Just don't want you to be completely shut out of a response.
No. I feel like we've both represented our different sides of it, and it's not probably Nick's intention for us to go into a Christianity versus science.
But we could. It'd be fun.
We did get here fairly to me, because as I was saying just then, like the fears and like fear about dying and life and all that, to me is like the creation of religion anyway. So like that's my belief on it.
Like in the invention of lying.
Basically. Yeah.
What a shit movie.
Fuck off. It was a great movie.
Pretty good.
Is the man.
No, it was great right up until the point where he was just turning into Jesus. I was just like, okay, no, this is a bit too far. No, I'm sick of this.
You can watch that movie and go, does Ricky Gervais have anything against religion, or is he just being a bit on the nose? Go part 2, Nick.
Yeah, no, well, I just want to add a couple more deep-seated fears. One of them is the fear of personally never being able to have children. I don't want to be in a position where I'm old and decrepit and have no one there with me at the end, family.
Get on the job then, buddy.
Start putting in work.
Well. And the other one...
The is your penis in this.
The other one is losing my job and not being able to provide.
Yeah.
That's another one that I fear for.
Well, that's a big thing that you've talked about in the past is your happiness is being able to provide for your family.
Exactly, yeah. Anyway, I want to move on to...
I want to investigate this a little further with your children thing. When do you intend to have children?
It'll happen when it happens.
So you're just going bareback and see what happens? Is that what you're telling us?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
There's no raincoat on this soldier.
No.
You just go... It will be a spur of the moment thing.
If it is something you were keen to do sooner rather than later, I would definitely see some specialists sooner rather than later as well. If that's something that you're able to do.
Count of your
just for peace of mind.
I want to move on to fears that you have overcome in the past. This, while we were discussing, I was thinking a fear that I used to have when I was younger. A young, desperate young boy who was never...
An inability to grow a beard.
Forever alone. Never been able to find a partner and things like that. Because I was never the most... I wouldn't say socially awkward, but I wasn't the most desirable kid growing up to the opposite sex.
No.
You really? You never walked up to girls and was like...
And they were just dropping the panties? Yeah.
I didn't get to say that this week. Now, that's something I came into
First
later
day you
in
met
life.
Stacey, It's your boy.
Well, it's a miracle we even got together.
Will you marry me? Your boy.
No, go on, Nick. You're trying to say something serious.
Yeah.
Oh, that was pretty much it. Forever alone.
You started with "It's a miracle you even."
That
how it
story.
Married? Or...
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a story for another day.
Yeah, no, I was about to say if you're gonna bring up getting over that, I want to hear
How you came over it.
Time you ever spoke to Stacey?
Did she threaten to kill you? Or is it just a recent
No.
thing?
We first met on a dating site and we chatted for a while, and then we're drunk. I was drunk one evening with a friend.
Is this the third time you were
Easter
drunk or
Thursday.
something?
No. We've been drunk before. It was with football friends. So she was out in the town, and me being a nervous young buck like myself, he stole the phone from me and organised for us to meet up in a nightclub. And I was well pissed at this point. And so we walked down to the nightclub. I met her there. We were chatting and whatnot. And then we decided to walk back to my friend's apartment. And every 5 minutes because I had a button-up shirt, but it wasn't buttons. They were like those press-together metal button
Press
things.
studs, yeah.
Yeah.
Studs, yeah.
So every 5 minutes, keep in mind how drunk I was. I was ripping off my shirt, showing my tattoo to everybody in sight. I was pretty much fearing for my life because I had lost my keys, which had keys to my gun safe in it. And it was like, oh no, I'm going to jail forever. They ended up being in a friend's car. And then when we got to the apartment, I threw up and passed out in a bucket.
I've seen that picture, I think.
Yes, I'll put that picture in the show description.
So this is how it became your fear?
By getting drunk. That's how most people
Pretty much.
overcome all
Dutch
fears.
Where was Stacey in that part of the story, or have you combed it out without
No, she
meeting
come back to
her?
the
In the bucket.
apartment, watched me pass out, and then left with a friend and got in a taxi, and she went back to her place.
The rest
Good
is
choice.
She's like,
Yes.
that
yeah.
man is a stud.
That's my man.
I want that piece of ass. In that bucket.
Did she say, "It's my boy"?
No, I come into that phrase later in life.
Yes, I remember that.
That's a very very random stumbling drunkly into overcoming and meeting someone, I suppose.
Pretty much.
Getting with someone. Yeah. All right.
All right. Have you overcome any fears, Ashley?
Getting murdered in my sleep. Yeah, that's a fear I've overcome. Nothing springs to mind. I mean, I have a dislike of reptiles and stuff, but that doesn't really...
Yeah.
Snakes.
Yep, not keen on snakes.
Lizards.
Yeah, anything that...
Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, yeah, terrified. Yeah, I guess social awkwardness. I mean, getting to know people is just like a hard thing for me. So being at RDX was like a big thing. So
Yeah,
So we helped you overcome your fear.
yes,
I don't know if it was a fear.
Friendship.
But actually going to talk to you in King's Comics was like this is really awkward and uncomfortable for everyone involved, but this is what we do at these things, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And entirely expected that you would not come to get a drink with us.
Yeah. Walking to that bar, that was something.
How about yourself, Dylan? Have you overcome any fears?
I suppose you can count like I used to have like way worse anxiety like I've had like anxiety attacks and stuff like that, like being in like big moles. I've had to like leave moles because I just like started having panic attacks.
Oh,
and
moles.
Stuff.
I think you said moles.
Yeah, it sounds like
Moles. Don't make.
No,
don't
I heard him say moles.
You know what my fear is? Being shunned out of life because of my inability to speak some words properly enough for
I'm not
fucking
shunning you.
higher individuals.
No.
I only shun you for saying YOLO instead of yellow.
Yellow.
Donald Trump's president. You're going to be fine.
Yeah, he's fucking smaller than mine, I'll tell you that.
So are his hands.
Yeah, that's true. Also.
Tiny hands.
Yeah, so I suppose anxiety. Like I don't freak out. I could never go to like last night. I was in a club. It's fucking packed. I'm surrounded by people, shoulder to shoulder. I couldn't have done that at like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Couple of years ago, packed mall in a shopping centre. Heaps of people around me at Christmas time. Heaps of people around me at Christmas time. I had to leave the place because I started having hyperventilating and shit.
So how did you overcome it?
I just decided that I wanted to and did it somehow. That's actually my legit answer. I don't know how I did it. It was just like one of those things that I think there's some things in life. It was like I was just like, oh, that's a fear. I'll never be able to get over that. And it was like one day I'm just going to force myself to
just do it.
Put myself in circumstances that I know will make me feel that way.
Yeah.
And just do it enough times until it disappears. And now I apparently don't really freak out about shit like that.
Great news.
That's pretty solid. Just like self-therapy.
Yeah.
Have you overcome any fears, Tom?
I don't think so. No, I think that there's kind of two other things that have sprung to mind through this conversation. I wrote down heights. I'm not particularly scared of heights, but they do make me really uncomfortable. Like, I wouldn't say I have a fear of heights, but like... No, I think it's the fear of potentially falling as opposed to the actual height. Like, going up the Sky Tower in Auckland, for example, like I'm quite happy
huge
going up to the top of the Sky Tower, but to then walk over the glass, like they've got glass floor bits that is like, I should definitely be falling down right now. This is awful. That's a really uncomfortable thing. Like, makes me think of people going bungee jumping and stuff like that. Like, I always think that a bungee jump would be a fun thing to do, and I could absolutely do that. And it's just got to be right time, right place. And then as you get like closer and closer to going to a bungee jump place because somebody else is doing it, or we're going past one, it's like you get close. It's just increases the amount of fuck off that I'm feeling, that I'm absolutely never going to do that. And as soon as you leave or get past it, you're just like, oh, I regret that. I really should have gone and done that while we were there because I could totally do that. That'd be so much fun.
No. Apparently it's no good for your brain, is what I read.
That doesn't surprise me.
I can't imagine that. It's almost like getting a concussion, wouldn't it?
Yeah, just sudden jolt that you stop.
Yeah, your brain just smashes on the top of your skull and then fucking...
I don't think it's super sudden, but it is like a rapid deceleration with the bungee cord. It kind of reminds me, like, on Easter weekend, I went up to Taupo, and we went swimming in the lake and jumping off this like popular jumping spot, and it must have been sort of 8 meters or something off the water, and climbing up there was absolutely fine, but then to step onto the top rock was like massive fear kind of thing. Like, this is stupid. What the fuck am I doing up here? Because all I can do is jump off at this point. I don't want to take that last step because that means I then have to jump.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that took me a couple of deep breaths and all that sort of stuff to then actually get up on top of the rock and then jump off it. And it was fun. I swam immediately back to the boat and jumped in the boat and went, great, I did that. Somebody got it on camera. Fantastic. I'm not fucking doing it again.
Prove that I've done it.
Yeah, but I did it.
Yeah.
I have a quick bungee jump story. One of my friends was in Queenstown recently and did the bungee jump, and they filmed it, but just as he was jumping, like, you start to fall or whatever, the instructor yells, wait.
Oh.
And you can see
they seem to love doing that. I've heard that story a few times.
You can see the look on his face. He's like, crap, I'm about to die.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's all good. He's okay. Nothing happened.
Just traumatized.
How about yourself, John? Have you overcome any? I know you said you don't have any fears, but did you have any as a child?
I hadn't considered as a child. I guess I probably did have some social anxiety when I was a kid. Like, I didn't like being embarrassed in front of people.
Yeah.
And that, I guess without making an effort to do anything about it, I've fixed that. Maybe I just grew up, but I find it really... like, most people seem to find public speaking like there's Jerry Seinfeld has a joke that the number one fear is public speaking, number two is death. So if you're at a funeral, you'd rather be in the casket than doing the eulogy.
Boom, 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 boom.
Thanks.
Boom, boom, boom.
Thanks.
That's all right. That was the post stand-up bit, and now we're into the episode.
Yeah. But yeah.
Now,
so
please explain the joke in sitcom format.
Yes, very good. Anyway, I find that, especially through growing up through high school and doing those kinds of things, getting in front of a crowd and speaking, and especially like being at church and having opportunities to speak in front of the congregation like semi-regularly, that's really helped me now. Like I can stand in front of a theater full of people at work and present something, and it's like not a big deal. So I guess that's something that I guess I'd say I'm proud of overcoming. And to another extent, there was while I was at uni, it was more of an anxiety, I guess, where I did feel that I wouldn't be able to adjust to life in a full-time job because I'd never done like really day in, day out work, rather just kind of casual work up to that point. And I was more just kind of wondering how I was possibly going to be able to do it. And then I found out quickly that you just kind of do it and it happens.
Yeah. You just got to get on with it.
You go to bed at the time you need to go to bed.
That's right.
And you set an alarm.
Pretty much.
9 o'clock bedtime.
That's right. There was something else I thought of, but I've kind of forgotten what it was now. So.
Well, I want to move on to phobias next because Tom brought it up with heights. I am petrified of heights. Like, the most recent one that I can think of is, has anyone been to the Telstra Tower in Canberra?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. No. So basically it's kind of like your Sky Point Tower and whatnot, but you go up it and there's the big glass viewing platform, and then there's another part where you can walk up on the stairs and like go up an open air platform, and I got up there and I just froze. I couldn't move. I had my back up against the wall in the middle, and I was like, I couldn't do this. I had to get down. Like, I don't know what it is about heights that petrify me, but I just get frozen with fear.
The open air is the worst.
Yeah.
Like, Coit Tower in San Francisco was open air as well up the top, and I was like, I didn't want to go near the windows just for fear of falling out, and these windows like are too narrow to fit my shoulders through. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
It was like when I also was, because going to school camps, there were all different activities, and one of them was abseiling. And so with abseiling, you approach the ledge backwards, so you can't see where you're going, and you pretty much have to lean on the rope and go vertical, kind of like you're standing against the wall. Kind of like
horizontal.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah,
perpendicular to the wall.
Yes,
I don't know, it was probably only like 5 minutes, but for me it was an eternity trying to get that. And I was like, I got halfway down and I froze again, and funnily enough, I was only like 2 meters from the ground, but I just could not move. It did, it was like an eternity trying to get down there. Does anyone else have any like irrational phobias?
Waiting rooms.
Wow.
Really?
You want to elaborate?
Not just. Everyone used to say like, "Oh yeah, Dylan, everyone's scared of the doctor," and I'll be like, "No, you don't understand. Hairdresser waiting rooms, everything, any waiting room, I start freaking out for some reason."
Wow.
You don't like waiting, or?
No, I just something about the rooms. Like, it's particularly like if they sit you in like a little secluded section. It's like off to the side, away. If I'm sitting there, bunch of chairs, doctors, dentist, hairdresser, office, anything. I don't like it for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if that's an actual fear. But waiting rooms.
Yeah, I've never heard that one before.
I'm gonna Google it.
Probably haven't.
I wonder if
waiting rooms.
Yeah, I wonder if there's an actual term for that.
It'll be something ridiculous if it is actually a thing. Well, it's like in a world where there's like fear of clowns and everything. So
yeah, well, Stacey's scared of clowns. I don't personally understand it, but it's definitely a thing.
I understand like the murdery looking clowns. I can understand being scared of those, but not like Funzo or Ronald McDonald or something.
Yeah, I've known heaps of people through life scared of clowns, and I just don't understand it.
It's unnatural. They're hiding something.
Covering their face.
I watched It as a child. They're alright.
Yes, that was a bit. I watched it as an adult. That was a mistake.
That was a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm yet to see it.
Yeah.
No,
Not going to see the new one for a
it is
review
funny,
discussion, Johnny?
Probably not.
Did you find a result, Tom?
No, I don't have a result on an actual word, but I do have a couple of threads of people also saying that they are scared of waiting rooms.
There you go.
I bet one of these stories, it's like the person told their doctor that they're scared of the waiting room, so the doctor said, "Oh, just wait in the hallway," and apparently that's even worse for them. But they said yes and just stood in the hallway waiting for the doctor to be free.
Would that be a form of agoraphobia then? No, agoraphobia is wide open. Claustrophobia.
I don't know. I was thinking it might, because I've never had claustrophobia. I always thought it must be like something that relate to like anxiety issues, because it's like it's like sitting in a room literally made for waiting for something to happen. And I get like antsy and stuff like that as well.
Just let it happen.
Yeah, stuff like that. So I always figured it must be like a weird offshoot. Like I kind of grew from like my anxiety issues.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, that's a thing.
Does anyone else have any phobias?
I'd probably say I'm like mildly claustrophobic. Like, I'm not worried about being in small rooms and stuff like that, but when people talk about going caving and blackwater rafting and going through the squeeze and stuff like that in caves, that's like you have to suck your gut in and like shimmy your way through this gap for 10 meters or something. I'm just like,
no,
you
thank
can
you.
fuck right off. I just,
I don't think
I already just feel uncomfortable sitting here thinking about having to do it.
See, I'm thinking about that now, and I'm like, I have zero issues with that. So I'm like, mine can't be a thing to do with
Claustrophobia.
Like there's this video on Facebook the other day, and it's like these two people yanking this rope out of a sewer. I don't know if you've seen it, and the sewer is like, the sewer must have been about 50 centimeters wide or something like that. Pulling this rope and pulling this rope, and there's about 2 minutes worth of them pulling this rope. Must be like 50, 60 meters worth of rope. And at the end of this rope, it's tied to this lady's ankles who'd gone into this drain to pull out these two puppies. And I just felt like my head starts spinning and my gut got all tight and stuff. Like, what the fuck was she doing with herself in there? Like my shoulders would hardly fit in that. You'd have to cramp yourself up. She went in to go save these dogs in this fucking pipe.
She was like that guy from that episode of the X-Files where he can squeeze and bend through the small gaps.
Do you freak out watching like movies where they have like horror movies or like action movies or something where they like crawl through really tight spaces, or like a character's hiding in like a small space or something like that?
I'm fine with that. And like the first thing that kind of sprung to mind is like Die Hard and Bruce Willis and the
crawling
in the air vents. That is fine, but if I have to think about myself in there, then nah. No, that makes me really uncomfortable.
As you're talking about it, like the Blair Witch Project, or whatever, it was just called Blair Witch Project, or whatever it was. The one that came out last year, the sequel. There was a scene in that movie that a bunch of people, I remember reading stories about people in the cinema like freaking out, who have like levels of claustrophobia, because there's a level where this character's like in like a cave-like system and like crawling in this really tight space, but in like this really dark caves stuff, and that's very similar to another horror movie I really like called The Descent, which is where they like go cave. They go like cave
diving.
They dig somewhere in the caves. Yeah, cave diving, whatever you call it. And that movie I remember reading also, like heaps bunch of people watched that and like freaked the hell out. Like it wasn't even like the actual monsters in the movie or anything. It was just the fact that they're just those scenes of them really tight with the camera, you know, moving like handy cam realistically, watching these characters like have to like shimmy between the tightest spaces in this cave system with the little headlamps and stuff like that. So
were you able to play Spelunky?
I've played a little bit of Spelunky, not a lot, but they're very wide.
That's pretty open, yeah.
Spelunky. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, have you seen those Japanese like beds, like hotel beds, like the little pod? Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't do that.
Interestingly, the submarine didn't freak me out. When you just said those bed pods, I'm just thinking they have like you can only just stand up in these rooms, but they've got 3 or 4 like bunk beds that you'd have to squeeze yourself in. And it doesn't make me feel uncomfortable going in there, but probably that place underground and all like closed over apart from the head and the foot bit that I'd have to crawl through, that probably make me feel gross.
Did you go into the solitary cell at Alcatraz, Tom?
I did, yeah. Yeah, no, I closed the door and shut my eyes. And I was fine in there. Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know.
Is it more claustrophobic where you could get stuck as opposed to...
It's probably the fear of getting stuck in there as opposed to anything else.
Ash mentioned reptiles before. Does that extend to like a phobia where you don't even like looking at them in video games and that kind of thing?
No, I don't mind. I just don't want them anywhere near me.
Right.
Yeah. my mum has a severe...
They can
snake
fuck
phobia.
off.
What
My
were you
mum
saying,
has
Nick?
a severe snake phobia and she can't even look at them.
My mum
I
was like,
fucking
wow.
hate snakes. I don't understand people who like snakes. Every time if I see a snake, I'm like, you can sliver the fuck off, mate.
I don't have anything against them personally.
Do you
Yeah, I'm
have
okay.
snakes
I've held
in
snakes
Tasmania?
before.
Yeah, we got snakes in Tasmania. What kind of question's that?
Well, they're so cold-blooded, wouldn't they just freeze?
No, they just go away in
It's not
winter.
that
They
cold
come
in
up during
Tassie.
the summer.
Well, I genuinely didn't know whether you had snakes or because of whenever you
We got-
broke off the mainland, you don't
was
have
it?
that.
Yeah, you
that's
just
a good
St.
point.
Patrick them off.
Isn't there like
Yeah.
the Tasmanian tiger snake or something? I think one of the top 5 in Australia is here. I think.
Because like
Good work.
like New Zealand was obviously stuck onto the side of Australia some hundreds of millions of years ago or whatever.
Whoa.
But we don't have.
So what you're
snakes
saying
or
is you're
anything like
Australian.
So you-
Pretty much.
that. No. Are you are you aware of the concept of Gondwana land?
I am.
There you go.
Yep.
Do you have any phobias, Jono?
I don't, and I never really have.
Really?
I've never loved fish. Like, there's certain fish that freak me out. They're really gross. But it's not. I wouldn't never say that it's a fear.
Yeah.
What are you laughing for?
You just like, ooh, they're so slimy. Ooh, I picked them up. Ooh, they wiggle.
Pretty much.
You're not a
Like,
fan of
It's-
fish.
I'm just
Yeah.
imagining you with a small fish and you can't quite catch it. It's just flopping all over the boat.
The
Just having
goldfish.
a really terrible
Goldfish.
time.
if I can explain this, if I see in an aquarium a fish that's, a couple feet or a few feet big, it kind of does give me a
Their
bit of a
fins.
shiver down the spine. The
Bigger
big
than your
eye
head.
and the weird mouth and the
Yeah.
Really?
sliminess. But I have, the reason I don't call it a phobia is because I've snorkeled at the Great Barrier Reef and wherever else, and there's fish swimming all around you, and it doesn't bother me even in the slightest. So,
Does it bother
I call
you
it
seeing dead
mild
fish
phobia,
in like a
I guess.
deli?
Sorry?
Does it bother you seeing dead fish in like a fishmonger and whatnot?
No,
No, he loves it.
Not at all.
Are you
Just when
scared
they're
about them
alive.
maybe eating you?
No, I just think that they look gross. It's like, creepy crawlies, like being, Fear Factor, how they get covered in bugs. Like, that's
Yeah.
just
No.
generally unpleasant for everyone,
interested.
I imagine.
Spiders. I actually hate spiders.
Do you hate them or do you fear them?
Like if what I've had, I've ran out of work.
So that's
I've like ran out of work and like
You doused them in petrol and set them
like
on fire.
physically I was like, what the hell has your work got to do with this? Like,
a
I've got no
spider,
more work to
dropped
do,
down- A
guys.
spider dropped down from the roof once, and I was like, "All right, I'm out. Bye."
was it Daddy Longlegs?
I don't know what it was, but it was a spider. I don't like it.
Did I ever
Someone come kill it.
tell you
I can
about
imagine
it?
you like when you see in movies with women and mice and you jump up on a chair and with a broom.
My mum actually does that. I've seen her do that.
I googled a trapdoor spider the other day because we were talking about them at work. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
They are weird. They've got like the back of them has a really weird shape. Like it almost looks like a wooden carving of some kind of Aztec artifact. It's crazy.
Okay.
Google image search if you've got the balls for it, Dylan.
I might have to do that. Well, you
Another
said
point-
Daddy.
Zero balls. Zero balls.
You said Daddy Longlegs, and it reminded me of a chef that used to work in the kitchen at Molly's when I worked there. And
Did he have 8 arms?
No, he had two arms, two legs, but he was like, he argued like until the cows came home, kind of thing, that daddy long legs were called dandy long legs. And he was like 30, he was 30 something, and at this point in his life, no one had ever corrected him that the spider is a daddy long legs, not a dandy long legs, which is quite fantastic. And he also thought that the Titanic was called the Titanic.
I think he just likes.
Oh, you must hate him.
This is a few years ago, even after the movie.
This is actually me.
While we're talking about fish, there are some really freaky fish out there, just so you know.
Do you eat fish?
I don't, and it's nothing to do with that. I just generally don't like seafood.
That's fair.
But man, there are some weird... At the bottom of the ocean, there's some weird fish.
Oh yeah, that's cool stuff though.
It freaks me out.
I want to know
the
more
ones
about
with
that.
The teeth and like the headlamps, and there's like little fish that live inside them, and the men only exist to like live inside the women. It's weird. It's disturbing.
I think they're cool.
God created them, Jono. Leave them alone.
Yeah, they've got a purpose.
They belong at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
Where I'm
Another
not.
point
Way
I
away.
wanted to hit was childhood fears. I remember as a child being irrationally scared of vampires, so when I would lay in bed, I'd make sure that the blankets were tucked in around my neck so the vampires couldn't get in and bite me.
Wow.
Did anyone have any stupid childhood fears like that?
I think there's
Vampires?
Well, a dumb kid.
One year I distinctly remember, like, it had been a hot summer and I'd not worn a t-shirt or anything like that to bed. It had just been my boxers. Yep. And then as it started to get cold in winter, I had to, like, put a top on as well to stay warm. But I was scared that I would choke myself wearing a t-shirt in my sleep somehow. And it was like a good couple of weeks worth of building myself up to it, and then I started just wearing a singlet with no sleeves, and it's not quite as tight around the neck.
Yeah.
Until I could wear. I must have been like 14 or 15.
Wow.
Like not even as a child. It just and it was only
I
1 year.
Where that was coming from.
Hadn't worried about it previously, and haven't worried about it since. It was just one changing of the season that really got me a bit freaked.
Yeah, I can understand like I hate sleeping with clothes on, period, and like wearing a shirt, just the way it all bunches up and whatnot. So I can see it wouldn't be that much of a stretch to think to get bunched up around your neck.
I wear so many clothes to bed.
Naked, as naked as the day I was coming to the world.
She's a lucky girl, you're Stacey.
She is.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else have any stupid childhood fears?
I remember going to Movie World when I was younger. For our international listeners, that's like a big theme park with a Warner Brothers
like
theme.
Universal Studios.
Yeah. And there was the Gremlins ride that was a big thing.
Yeah.
I remember being freaked out terribly about that. And then the second I went again with a family friend, and I was not keen on going on that ride, and they're all, come along. So we went on, and it was like perfectly fine the second time.
What's wrong
but
what's about the ride for those who
I don't know.
what the ride is?
It was just like Gremlins. Like it was just
really,
like a boat
it's
ride.
Not really a ride. It's kind of a show, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
No, you sit on like a
Is it a haunted mansion ride?
Kind of, but you're sitting in like it's like on rails.
Theater. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Gremlins have attacked and taken over and stuff.
As in, like the movie Gremlins.
The movie Gremlins, yes.
At
That was
Movie
not there when I
World.
went. I don't think.
Yeah, it
How
might
old
have.
were you?
Been there for a long time.
Must have been
I
like
don't know if
8.
it's still there. It might not be there anymore.
It wasn't there when I went, like 10 years. It's over 10 years.
Yeah,
ago
it
now.
might be. It's probably gone by now, but
Yeah.
also
I'm
not
actually
keen on
38.
that female Gremlin.
No one
with
really
the-
knows how old Ash is.
It's funny that Ash and I are the only ones that remember it.
Yeah,
Ash's fear is knowing what his age is.
yeah, that's scary too. But also on that trip, we went. There was a Tasmanian devil, like from the Warner Brothers cartoons, like a mascot guy in a suit,
Taz.
and we were very scared of him. He was probably just trying to come over and give us a hug, but he started chasing us around, and we started throwing chairs and stuff to try and.
I can understand how it'd be scary because he's got that big open mouth with the teeth and everything.
Yeah, he just started chasing us.
Was he spinning around like a whirlwind?
Yeah. So it was like a stage area, and we was chasing us around. So we just started chucking chairs down behind us, trying to so he couldn't follow us. Yeah.
Is Taz a cult hero down in Tasmania, Dylan?
No.
He should be.
It's the same as like
In Tasmania is the Victorian devil.
Tyre the Tasmanian Tiger, the video game or whatever the hell it is. It's like, does everyone in Tasmania like, did you all grow up playing that game and love it? I'm like, I've never played that video game in my life. Like,
I have played a lot of video games, and that is not one of them.
That is not one of them. So no.
So any childhood fears, you and Jono?
I'm not really. I mean, I do remember being afraid of a clown, but I think it was kind of a one-off thing. Yeah. Like
to take away from this, Jono is not scared of anything.
Also,
Gryffindor.
Yeah. It's funny that we're doing this topic because an idea I had for a book or a movie like a while ago was someone.
The Spy and the Maven. Available now.
That's right. Now, someone actually doing a kind of a John Safran-esque documentary series about fear, like phobias, and talking to. I actually originally wanted to do it myself, but I thought more recently it would be easier to write a book about someone doing it than actually doing it myself.
Just pain in general. I was scared of that.
Oh, like pain, yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's one last point I wanted to hit before, and we'll wrap it up from there, is nightmares. Do any of you get bad nightmares or any recurring ones that really freak you out?
No, I've had a really good run with that kind of thing.
Bloody hell, John. Are you scared of something?
When I was a child, I had a lot of... When I say a lot, I had a few that I remember. I'd have a dream where my family would leave me. Like they would just, I guess, go somewhere and purposely leave me behind.
Joe Dirt, yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Well, that or you just watched Home Alone that night.
That's it. Hannah has terrible.
I can never remember my dreams, so I barely dream. I think I went like months and months without even having any sort of dream, so I'm not really a dreamer.
What about you, Ash? Nightmares?
No, probably. I just can't remember anything specific.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, I think. Hard to remember for some reason.
I've got two that spring to mind as like recurring dreams/nightmares. I might have mentioned one of them already. The recurring one where I failed a paper in my last semester of uni it's like a very real feeling when I wake up that I still have to do one more paper at uni in order to graduate, even though I graduated like 4 years ago at this point with sufficient points and all that sort of stuff to get my 2 degrees as it ended up being. But yeah, I just have this recurring thing where I'm literally 1 point short and I have to do a whole other paper for 20 points to graduate, and that was quite awful.
I can't relate to that.
You've just reminded me of something that I do still have, and it's not a nightmare because I associate that with like monsters and stuff, I guess. But I do have a reoccurring dream where I'm back in high school, like as myself now, and it's like, we've stuffed up, and you have to come back to school for 1 more year.
Billy Madison.
They Billy Madison'd you.
Pretty much. And I'm like, I'm back at school. All my friends from school are back at school. We're wearing our school uniforms.
Shampoo. Hello, Mr. Conditioner.
Stop staring, swine.
Stop staring, man.
To all the Adam Sandler fans out there.
You are welcome. And the other one, because I mentioned 2.
Yeah.
I don't think either are nightmares, but they're both definitely dreams that make me feel uncomfortable. For one reason or another, I get into a fight with somebody, and it's like
fucking badass. Jack would be proud.
But it's like they are Superman or something, and it doesn't matter how hard I hit them and how hard I try. You just can't hurt them.
That's a similar thing to me.
Like a video game, you're on very hard or something, and you're level 1, and you're just
practice mode in Street Fighter.
You're just getting 0, 0, 0, 0. Doesn't matter how. And these dreams can go on. They feel like they go on all night, and you're just like in this constant fight and don't achieve anything.
That's similar to my recurring dreams that make me uncomfortable. Is like I get into a fight, but they're like normal. But when I throw a punch, it is that slow and that light, it feels like I'm moving through mud to throw something. And another one's where I'm driving and I can see I'm about to get into a car crash, but I slam my foot on the brake, but the car doesn't slow down enough. Like, it slows down really slowly, if that makes sense.
Do you ever try to figure out what these dreams mean?
No,
or
it's
just
not
like,
worth
it.
They're just weird.
No.
Yeah,
That's
not worth it.
not important.
That one actually sounds familiar as well, Nick. One where, like, your brakes aren't strong enough for whatever.
Yeah. That's it. Like, you're pushing down on the brake pedal as hard as you can, it's just not doing it.
Yeah, you're like pushing as hard as you can, and then you push even harder, like to the point
like
where you're breaking
pushing
it through the floor. Yeah, that's weird. That
What
is
the fuck is going on here? Do you have like a shared subconscious and nightmare?
We're on the same cycle.
Jesus.
Well, maybe if we chose to share our dreams and that previous hypothetical, we could let you know, but...
All right, so thank you very much for joining me this week to talk about your fears, even though Jono isn't scared of anything.
Fearless Jono.
One last thing about that.
Go ahead.
No.
So, recently I did have a fear that I have overcome, and it was that I wouldn't be a good father. And it was
And then you went to San Francisco with Jack and did nothing that he did, and you were like, actually, I'm good.
Pretty much. Nah. So it was that I.
Sorry, Jack.
It wasn't that I would be a bad father. It was that I wasn't prepared for it.
Yeah.
When at the same point that Hannah was, because she's pretty much wanted to have kids for some time now.
Yeah.
Since we got married.
She delivers them on the daily. So.
Yeah. And it was particularly a daughter. Like, I didn't think that because I grew up with a brother, I had almost no female cousins that I was close to. Lots of boys, and just feeling like I wouldn't be able to relate to, I guess, a little girl, and I wouldn't know how to raise them through puberty and teenage things and the typical stuff.
That's what Hannah's there for.
Yeah. So I think having a niece and seeing her and, loving her so much and seeing my brother do that has really helped with that. So it was something I just kind of worked through in my own head and matured.
I don't think anyone's truly prepared to be a parent.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm not.
That's
you can follow us on YouTube at, what's the YouTube link, guys?
bit.ly/Explosion Network.
That's the one. Good work, Ashley.
You're welcome.
Follow us. You can check out our website, explosionnetwork.com. Just a heads up for in future, we're probably changing the domain so the RSS feeds will be different. We'll let you all know on the socials when that happens. You can follow us over at twitch.tv/Explosion Network, where every Thursday night we do community nights, and then Mondays is Dylan, Wednesdays is myself. Twitter at Explosion Pod and all those good things. Ashley, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEYHOBLEY.
Dylan?
Yep.
Find me on Twitter at VivaLadil, VIVALADIL, and VivaLadil on YouTube, and all around the Explosion Network.
Jono?
You can find me on Jono himself on Twitter. Go there to see all the other stuff I've been involved with. But also, while I've got the mic, shout out to Quinton Hoffman, who is at Quantum_Arbiter on Twitter. He's one of the kind of funny best friends that left a message for us on our website to say that he misses us or whatever. So thanks for listening, Quinton, if you are, and keep up your work. He's got his own podcast called Breaking Reality, so go check that out.
Thank you very much for that, Quinton. We really appreciate you reaching out to us. Anyone else that wants to do that is explosionnetwork.com/contact to get a hold of us, or all of our socials. Tom, where can we find you?
I tweeted Quentin back from TomDabom89, TomDabom89, and I will do the very same for you, but maybe not with a love heart. Depends who you are.
And what the message is.
Don't expect love hearts from Tom.
And don't at Nick. Where should they not at you, Nick?
You can find It's Your Boy on Twitter at Lord N.Prior, PRIOR. And thank you very much for joining, everyone. Hope you've had a great time, and this is episode 2 wrapped up. Bye.
I'm also scared of burning alive.
Pleasure too.
Nobody said cunt this week.
That's fair.
That's Jono's biggest fear.